Hey guys, this is Spartacus here, and yesterday was April Fool's Day, and if you were someone who played Warzone, I'm sure you guys experienced how differently Caldera and REbirth Island actually played. So starting with Caldera here, not only did loadout drops just drop like as soon as the match started, but when you jumped out of the airplane, you couldn't pull your chute, and you couldn't actually dive to any location. You just dropped straight down, and of course there's no fall damage, so you didn't die right away, but if you just drop straight down, there's a good chance you're already going to be getting into a ton of gunfights, and since your loadout drops right away, a bunch of other people's loadouts are going to be near yours as well, so you're going to be getting into a lot of engagements as soon as the match starts in Caldera, no matter where you jump out of the plane. And so I find that really funny how there's no fall damage in Caldera, and that you can't use your parachute whatsoever. Even when you go onto the redeploy balloons, you can't use them, which is a little bit of a shame. I wish they could have at least allowed that portion of using your parachute, but yeah, when you use the redeploy balloons, you just like get thrown into like whatever location the balloon decides to throw you at. So I think it's really funny how it actually works in Caldera. And of course, explosives like, for example, rocket launchers, grenades, and even stun grenades, they don't actually do any damage to you at all. Instead, they actually bounce you away from the explosion, which I think is hilarious. And so you see a lot of clips out there of people using rocket launchers, and they're using the rocket launcher to like jump really high in the air and get like some crazy like, you know, like no scope or something like that. I mean, you see it all over Twitter, and it's really funny seeing how everybody's just bouncing around with all these different explosives. And I find it really fun, meaning that you can't actually kill anybody with explosive damage, so I can only kill people with bullets or maybe die from the gas, I guess. But yeah, I think it's really funny that you can't actually get any damage taken from explosive. You just bounce away from it, which I think is hilarious. And of course, you actually start off with a pistol and a rocket launcher, so you can just start doing it right away if you really wanted to. And another thing is, I think you can enter the gulag multiple times. Don't quote me on this. I felt like there was a one time where I actually went to the gulag 2 times, and I was like really confused, but I could be wrong about that. I could be like completely mistaken, and I'm just like thinking of like 2 different matches or something like that. But I think you can enter the gulag multiple times, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Even though the way that Caldera was played, I found it interesting, especially using explosives to like just bounce you away from enemy players. It actually reminds me of Fortnite and how they have those bouncy grenades, because it seems like those are still meta in the game, and seeing how it kind of translates through this April Fool's event here within Caldera. But if I'm being honest with you guys, I prefer to play on REbirth Island during this April Fool's event than Caldera, and that's because you can actually use your parachute on REbirth Island, and I felt like not having your parachute on Caldera was really, it really sucked, because it is a much bigger map and there's a lot more ground to actually cover, and not having that parachute really sucks, if I'm being completely honest with you. However, the changes that we saw within REbirth Island, the loadout drops do drop instantly, and I feel like there's also a bunch of more loot boxes than there usually are, which is a good thing, because there's times where I land somewhere and there's just like no loot on the ground, but it seems like in the majority of locations where loot boxes can spawn, it seems like they're always going to be there, and there's times where I find like 3 or 4 loot boxes just sitting right next to each other, and so you're able to get a lot of cash, you're able to get a lot of weaponry really quickly in case you get into gunfights really quickly, so you know, you don't have to rely on that starting pistol that you drop in with, which I think is a great thing. But also the resurgence timer is not there. You can actually resurge any time during the match. So if there's like only 2 squads left and your teammates are still alive, as long as your teammates are still alive, you can still resurge back into the match, even if it's during like the final circle, which is really crazy. And I've had a couple of these experiences, and it's just so chaotic having that resurgence timer like basically never going away. And so I found REbirth Island to be a little bit more enjoyable than Caldera during the April Fool's event. I do wish they had the same features from Caldera on REbirth Island when it came to actually having no splash damage whatsoever, and it would actually just bounce you away from the explosion. I wish they would translate that into REbirth. I think that would have been a lot more fun, just having a lot of those close quarters engagements and seeing everybody just bounce around. I just think it'd be hilarious seeing that, but unfortunately that's not the case. You can still use your parachute on REbirth Island, you can still take damage from explosives, and so it's just not really the exact same experience you see from Caldera. But either way, I really enjoyed playing on REbirth Island. I love how you can research at any time during the match, and it's just so chaotic. I mean, it's insane how chaotic it actually is playing REbirth Island during this April Fool's event. But even though I briefly talked about both of these game modes, there really isn't much else to say about them. I just wanted to show a little bit of gameplay off from both of these these maps during April 1st. However, I do want to actually mention how it would be nice to see more of this stuff actually happen within Call of Duty. And it's a shame that we don't have anything going on in Call of Duty Vanguard. I mean, Vanguard's like, you know, it's a dead game, essentially. I mean, it's not completely dead, obviously. I mean, you can still find multiplayer matches. But, man, it just seems like the developers just do not care about Vanguard whatsoever. And they didn't do anything during April 1st to actually update anything within Vanguard itself. They didn't even change any of the playlist names. They did that within Valentine's Day. I remember they actually changed some of the names, like the Champion Hills game mode. Like, if you wanted to play solos Champion Hill, it was called Single and Ready to Mingle or something like that. Something simple as that is, like, pretty much all I really expect from the developers, and we've seen them do that before on April 1st with Call of Duty Ghosts. I remember them changing the game mode names, and they all just, like, have all these really weird names, and it was, like, only that like that for a whole day. I mean, like that kind of stuff, like, I can definitely see them do because they've done it plenty of times in the past. However, I'm just, like, what they did with Warzone, I thought was genius. I'm really happy they do that, and it really shows that the developers can make things a lot more interesting during just these type of days, right? April 1st isn't a holiday, right? But everybody knows that April 1st is April Fool's Day. It's the day where everybody, like, pulls pranks on each other and stuff like that. And it's cool that they actually put that into their game itself and change up the way the game actually played rather than just changing the game mode's playlist name, you know? And so I like how they go above and beyond and do that. I just wish they did it more frequently, and I don't know why they don't do this kind of stuff more frequently. It'd just be really nice to see. And honestly, that's really all I have to say throughout this video. I just really was happy to see that Warzone actually got an update. It changed the way that the gameplay, like, actually played, and it, like, made a more fun experience. Now, obviously, I don't think it should be there permanently. It can be a little bit frustrating not having that parachute on Caldera, or having too many people, like, resurge at the end of a match at a, like, on the resurgence game mode, you know, when playing on REbirth Island, you know, and can get a little annoying after a while. So obviously for one day, I think it's totally worth it. But either way, I hope they do more things like this in the future. They're clearly capable of doing it, so there's no reason why we shouldn't see this kind of stuff happen more often, even during holiday events, like whether that's Christmas time, St. Patrick's Day, which already passed. I mean, Easter's coming up. That'd be really cool if they have something like that come up in the near future. I mean, things like that. Let's come on, just small things like they did within the gameplay here with April Fools. I just was really impressed, and I know they're more than capable of doing that. And I hope Sledgehammer Games actually starts improving Vanguard, because that game is not looking good right now, unfortunately. But that's a completely different discussion for a whole nother video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like if you did, subscribe to the channel if you are brand new, and of course, I will catch you guys later.